Right, this friggin' lunatic is melting down. He is losing his damn mind. And of course, he never had much of a stable mind anyway. This man's grip on reality has only ever been tenuous at best. But he seems to be deteriorating like really quickly. Like every day, he seems almost noticeably worse than the day before. And one of the ways in which his mental psychosis um, evidences itself is these late night, shit posting sessions on Truth Social. And it used to be that he would stay up all night and rage post on social media like once a week, maybe every few days. But now he seems to be doing it every single day. I don't even know if the man sleeps anymore. The guy is just losing it. You would think that this man would be happy. The Republican Party has been completely destroyed and remade into a cult of personality where this man can do no wrong. He got what he wanted. He got the American people to reelect him as president, assuming that that's actually what happened. Probably not an assumption we should make, but that for another day. But regardless, he's president, and he accomplished the number one thing he was trying to accomplish in running for president, and that is he's got to stay out of prison. That was the main reason he was running for re-election, to stay out of prison. And he did. Donald Trump was very likely looking at spending the rest of his life in prison. And if he had not been reelected, he would probably be going on trial in the January 6 related cases in front of Judge Chutkin, probably in the next couple of months. He avoided all that. He won. He got what he wanted. He is committing open acts of bribery to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars. The whole world sees it. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows what that plane is about. Everybody knows what's going on with his meme coin and the millions and millions he's raising with that. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that this is an illegal bribery scheme. He's lining his pockets, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. And no one's going to do a damn thing about it. This man should be happy. He is a criminal who avoided prison and is committing crimes right out in the open with immunity from the Supreme Court. And he doesn't even have to try to hide his crimes. He could just rake in the cash, take bribes, take kickbacks, do whatever the hell he wants, and nothing's going to happen to him. Yet he's not happy. He seems like he is miserable and angry, and he's just melting down every single day. Here's what this lunatic posted today. Let me bring this up. Here's what he wrote. How much did Kamala Harris pay Bruce Springsteen for his poor performance during her campaign for president? Why did he accept that money if he is such a fan of hers? By the way, I know that my impression of Trump sucks. I don't do good impressions, but I just, it doesn't feel right reading him in my voice. The guy is far too insane for his words to be read in a normal voice. So even if my impression isn't very good, I feel like I have to do it. Because, this has to sound like a psycho, right? Because that's who's writing this stuff. Anyway, so he writes, isn't that a major and illegal campaign contribution? Actually, no, douchebag, it's not. What about Beyonce? And how much went to Oprah and Bono? I'm going to call for a major investigation into this matter. Candidates aren't allowed to pay for endorsements. Actually, they are, dipshit. which is what Kamala did under the guise of paying for entertainment. In addition, this was a very expensive and desperate effort to artificially build up her sparse crowds. It's not legal. For these unpatriotic entertainers, this was just a corrupt and unlawful way to capitalize on a broken system. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What the fuck does that even mean? Thank you for your attention to this matter? Is this who does he think the intended audience of this is, and what do you think they're going to do with this information? It sounds like he's making a complaint to to customer service. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I really wasn't happy with the koozie I ordered for the summer. They don't really keep my beer cold. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Can I get a refund? Fucking douche. Anyway, with what he wrote here, he's going on and on about Kamala Harris. He has a thing about entertainment. He so desperately wants to be loved by Hollywood and the entertainment crowd. He has always been desperate for their approval. And he really, really hates it when any of these people speak out against him. He freaking can't stand it. He thinks he's an entertainer. And to a large extent, he is. That's, for a lot of people who support this doofus, that's what it's about. This is entertainment for these people, for a lot of them. Now, I don't get it. I mean, the guy's not funny. The guy's not entertaining. The guy's not intelligent in any way. Where's the humor in any of this? But, I guess if you're stupid enough, this stuff appeals to you. So anyway, he goes on and on. He's attacking Beyonce and Bono and Bruce Springsteen, and accusing Kamala Harris of paying them for endorsements, saying it's an illegal campaign contribution. I mean, just think about how stupid that is. A campaign contribution is when someone contributes to the campaign, right? That would be like, for example, Bruce Springsteen giving money to Kamala Harris. But in this situation, he's complaining about Kamala Harris paying Bruce Springsteen. How the fuck is that a campaign contribution? You frickin' idiot. Anyway, putting that aside, he says it's illegal for candidates to pay people for endorsements. That's not true. It's perfectly legal for candidates to pay people for endorsements and to endorse them in commercials and things like that. Happens all the time. Not illegal at all, as long as they otherwise follow the rules, like paying fair market value and these kinds of things. But it's not at all illegal to pay someone for an endorsement. And by the way, there's no evidence that Kamala Harris actually paid these people for their endorsement. In fact, she says that she didn't. And I don't even know if she paid for the performances. She may very well have. I don't know. But she specifically says, I didn't pay them for their endorsement, and she didn't have to. Do you think there was any question about who Bruce Springsteen was going to support in the last election? Or Oprah? Or who else? Bono? Are you freaking kidding me? Beyonce? What, these people would otherwise have voted for this orange piece of shit, but for Kamala Harris paying them? It's absurd. Absolutely ridiculous. But this man is going on and on and on. At what time, by the way? Do you notice the time? This friggin' lunatic? 1:34 a.m. And that's just one of several tweets. I mean, the guy is losing it. And why is the guy losing it? For a lot of reasons. He was taking a hell of a lot of flack over the bribes, that bribery tour he took in the Middle East with his $400 million second hand. He got sloppy seconds is what he did on that Qatari plane. Qatar didn't even want that plane. They tried to sell it. No one wanted it. But they knew that if they just spray painted some cheap shit they got at Dollar General and stuck it to the walls inside that plane, that Donald Trump would think, oh my, this is like the Taj Mahal in here. And he would be impressed. All you got to do is spray paint something gold and this man is impressed. And so they, look, a couple of cans of spray paint, and we can pawn this jet that we don't want off on Trump. This jet that we can't basically give away, we'll pawn it off on Trump. And so we'll get rid of this jet and we'll curry favor with this friggin' lunatic and we'll be able to get what we want out of him. It's a win-win. I don't fault Qatar for doing it. This is what happens when you elect a criminal as president. He's easy to bribe, and that's what they did. So he took a lot of flack for that, even from his own party, although they're not going to very directly attack him, but a lot of them unhappy with this bribe scheme. And then there's also the disastrous economic news that continues. The impact of these tariffs, and I know he walked back a lot of these tariffs, that especially the 145% tariffs on China, walked those back, caved, cowered, because China called his bluff. But there are still serious tariffs in place, even against China, like 30% tariffs. That's significant. And they're just now starting to be felt by consumers. And so we had this news last week. This is in the Wall Street Journal, but it was all over the place. Walmart becomes biggest retailer. Let me try that again. Walmart becomes biggest retailer yet to pass through tariff price increases. So, and subhead, company plans to raise prices this month and early this summer. Other retailers likely will follow. Yeah, no brainer. Of course they're gonna do that. And so this is happening. Prices are going up. And Trump is losing his shit. In fact, he had a post where he loses it over the Walmart thing. And here's what he wrote 2 days ago. Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, eat the tariffs. Because that's what people say, eat the tariffs. And not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your customers. Okay, you watch. Of course they're going to pass along the friggin' tariffs. You know what? Walmart is a publicly traded company, right? They have obligations to their shareholders. In fact, if they didn't pass on the cost of the tariffs to the consumers, then shareholders could sue company leadership. Because they can't just get in bed with Donald Trump and lose billions of dollars because Donald Trump says so. Okay? They could be sued for that. So of course they're going to pass along the costs of these tariffs. And it's not just Walmart. It's happening everywhere. Here's one. This is, I just came out with this today. Target worker exposes massive tariff price hike for popular items. Let me read just a little of this. For months, big retailers have been warning that prices will rise. Now, thanks to insider information from Target workers, the extent of the raises are becoming apparent. Staff say it is just the beginning. A $9.99 USB-C cord from the store's in-house Heyday brand is now ringing up at $17.99, according to a self-identified employee on Reddit. Quote, "It's happening," the worker wrote, sharing a photo of the price update. All of Heyday is going up. The spike, an 80% increase, is being blamed on the latest wave of tariffs linked to President Donald Trump, criminal dirtbag, and his trade policies. Target's price rises come after Walmart on Thursday confirmed that it is raising prices this month as a direct result of the tariffs, which of course led to this friggin' meltdown by the orange criminal. So it's not going well for this guy. It's really, really not. He is a miserable sack of shit. And by the way, the further along we get into the second Trump term, the worse it's going to get for him. It's only going to go downhill. The Republican Party, you're going to start to see them fracture, start fighting with each other more and more. Many of them, as we get closer to the midterm elections, are going to start distancing themselves from Donald Trump and Donald Trump's policies. Now, Most of them won't have to do that because most of them, especially in the House, are in solid red districts. So they can afford to be fully Trumpy and not get any death threats, not get any primary challengers, because that's what they want to do. They want to, even the ones who don't like Donald Trump, even the ones who wish that he was in prison right now. And believe me, a lot of Republicans, even elected Republicans in Congress, wish Donald Trump lost and was in prison right now. They don't want to deal with him. They want him gone. They can never say that because their voters, their base primary voters, are part of the cult. So they have to play the game. They have to worship the orange messiah just like their voters do. But they don't like it, a lot of them. There are definitely cult members in Congress. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all of them are like that. You know who the ones who don't like Donald Trump and wish he were gone? The ones that you don't hear much from. Now, the ones who run out in front of the cameras and kiss his ass, yeah, they're full-on members of the cult. The ones who are just keeping their heads down, they just want to stay out of trouble, don't say anything, I don't want any attention on me, I don't want a mean tweet, one mean tweet and I get a primary challenger and I don't want to be, on the receiving end of MAGA's hate, so I'm just going to do my job and stay quiet. I'm not going to say anything bad about Donald Trump, but I'm not going to kiss his ass either. That's most Republicans in Congress, right? It's the minority of Republicans who you see out there publicly kissing his ass. Anyway, so as we get closer to the election, they're going to start making political calculations about how to position themselves vis-a-vis Donald Trump. And again, most of them are in safe districts, so they don't have to oppose Donald Trump or his policies in any way. And that's the safest thing to do if you're a Republican, because you're worried about his wrath. But in swing districts, not that there's a whole hell of a lot of those, but in swing districts and in, for senators who have to run statewide, you're going to see some of them start distancing themselves from Donald Trump. And then once we get past the midterms, when Trump's lame duck status really becomes apparent, because regardless of what he says, he's not going to be on the ballot in 2028. Not happening. Now, he may try not to leave office. He might try to stage a coup again or otherwise stay in office illegally. But one thing I guarantee you, his name is not going to be on any ballots. Okay, he's not running again. And you know who understands that, even if a lot of people out there don't? Elected Republicans who have to run for re-election. They know damn well Donald Trump is not going to be on the ballot again. And after the midterms, Republicans who want to be president and run for president in 2028, they're going to start making their moves. And as soon as the midterms are over, the 2028 presidential election starts ramping up, and attention will be taken off of Donald Trump more and more and put on the candidates who are running for the Republican nomination. And Donald Trump isn't going to like that, because Donald Trump doesn't share attention. And he's not going to like these people stealing his limelight, stealing the attention from him. And so you're going to see tension there. You're going to, as closer we get to 2028, you're going to see an all-out war in the Republican Party, especially the worse that the economy gets. The worse that this man fucks everything up, the worse the inter-party war on the right is going to be. Anyway, this is just a preview of it. These near daily meltdowns by this unhinged freaking lunatic are just a preview of what's to come. It's going to get a lot worse. And what's also going to continue to get worse is this man's mental deterioration. This is a sick and diseased mind that is only getting worse and worse in an increasing way as time goes by. This man is, with his advancing age, it's only exacerbating the psychological problems that he has. And that's going to get much worse in the weeks and months to come. Anyway, as always, good job, America. This was a choice. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to elect an utterly unhinged freaking lunatic to be president. A criminal who's literally out there taking bribes. You didn't have to do that. There was another choice, but in your infinite wisdom, you thought this was a good idea. So, way to go. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.